So yeah, I promised a video about what I was going to be doing, and here it is. So yeah, I've got an idea that is going to work, basically. So as you know, 100 times I've said it before, I like to mould the Daleks, reason why they take so long. He's going to be put on hold until next year, until I am earning more, and they will still be getting done, but obviously you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about hopefully this Dalek that I've been promising for a while. It's going to be an event Dalek, so one that's going to be going out a lot more. You can probably tell what it is if you're a massive Dalek fan. I don't do this colour scheme very much, but I did mention I wanted to do this design as accurately as possible, but I won't say what it is. I'm sure without, saying, some people scratching their heads wondering which one this is, but I'm sure some diehard fans will know what this one is going to be, as I promised it on my channel ages ago, and I said I will get it done. So essentially, I thinking to my head, I thought, right, I can't get him done anytime soon because of how much I'm going to need for moulding and how heavy and all this timber, and, I thought, what is the bare minimum Dalek that is really easy to create from timber and not too much, where they're built. If you remember them shoulders, how much bulk I had to make and then take a mould just for the sake of it being fiberglass. I'd want a lot of components coming off, because long story short, the reason why I like Imperials and that, they look solid. This Dalek, however, it's a 60s, 70s and 80s Shawcraft Dalek, to put it bluntly. If you don't know your props, long story short, from the 60s all the way up to the 80s before Revelation, the props were reused over and over again. So basically the Daleks, as the show progressed, the Daleks kept getting new bits added on. There weren't new props, they were the same Daleks from the first episode they aired on all the way to that episode, and they still exist, some of them, and they had bits swapped off here and there, and the bodies basically kept the same, but new parts were added on, like the slats, new guns, new dome lights. This Dalek, however, is an odd design, and it's one of the fans' favourites. So I thought, a Dalek that I do like, I've been promising, and it's going to be cheaply made, and I have done timber Daleks. The reason why I don't do them often is because, obviously, rain and everything damages them. So that's why I'm always going for full fiberglass ones until I've moulded, like the dome and all that, until I've moulded, So then, and they go out in the sun and, all this. So I thought, what is a cheap Dalek? And I think my range of price, no more, hopefully, than 500 quid. What is a cheap Dalek that can still be operated, that I've still got a few parts and I've got bits pretty much already around me? Easy to do. So, with it being 60s, they're very, very easy. I would go into detail. They're not as difficult as the 80s Dalek behind me, or the paradigms, because of how they're built. The original Daleks, apart from the skirt, the shoulders and the dome, were fiberglass. The base and the neck, so the neck is also something that always takes a lot of time to get right if it's fiberglass. Timber necks are really easy to put together. Essentially, it's just creating a hollow bin with 8 struts, a circle and a circle. You create your bin shape. You need, obviously, to see out, so that's why it's made with struts. You wrap it in a black cloth. You then wrap it in some mesh, and then some people then make the proper way of the cage that goes around, which is 3 rings and, again, 8 struts screwed together. That slots over the fin. But I like to build my neck bin and then the neck rings and struts as one piece. Makes it difficult on painting, but because of what colour this Dalek is, it's really not going to be difficult. And that's pretty simple compared to, these Daleks that have the gold reflect and the nice detailing and all that. That's really fiddly. So that's pretty easy. This dome I had laying around. Basically, when I casted this one up, I made a second one, and it's just been laying about under that dome. So I've took that out, I've cleaned it up, I've cut out the eye, the dome lights, marking it all out. The little pivot bit, yes, it is meant to be a pivot for the dome to finish on, but I'm just going to have a traditional flat base inside. But I wanted to have still the aerial design. Bumps are very, very simple. Just simplest ones, cheapest, is these globes, which then I painted black gel coats to give them a bit more sturdiness. Literally all this is then, like what this originally had, but then which these need taken off. Holes, it's a 60s method. Holes are cut through the skirt, and then the bumps are fed through. And I have the hole saw literally over there that I bought a long time ago. So that'll fit these 100mm ones. And because this is down in scale, these are perfect. So it's a 95mm hole, and these will feed through, and they'll only go so far, so they won't fall out. That is such a simple method. I've got loads of the globes, so that won't take long. Like I normally make fiberglass ones. I take a pink silicone mould, if you've probably seen 100 times. And I don't know where it is, but you remember the sink mould, where I then make fiberglass ones like these, and then I trim the excess. And then I have to put a bolt in, glue it, make sure it doesn't pull out, and make sure it's centred. It takes a long time. Imperials really do take a long time. Or new series Daleks, because of how much chunkiness there is. The shoulders are very simple. It's literally the shape what it is, but the gun box is literally just a box. So I will be making there's a template up there. It's literally a square box. I'll put my fiberglass in, then take the box apart, pull the box out, clean it up, and literally when I've got the shoulders, cut the 2 holes, feed it through, fiberglass the inside, and it's literally just a box, just tilted at an angle. So that's why it sort of steeps, instead of it being like these, where these are a lot of fiddling. Instead of them being level to the floor, the box is literally like this, and it goes in at an angle, like so, because of it being a box tilted. Very simple, get that out of the way. The upper and lower bands are literally just metal. So there's bits of wood, and the metal then goes around and gets bolted onto the piece of one there. So there's none of this building blocks and then body filling and making it all smooth as a solid piece, because these early Daleks didn't have that. The way I'm going to do the top one is going to be foam, because you're not really going to see down the sides. So it'll be foam, and then the slats will be bolted on with a bit of mesh in between. It's really, really simple, this Dalek. Skirt will be timber, but it'll be thin wood, and like I say, holes will be cut through. It won't need a lot of work, not a lot of body filling either. And the base plate, some rubber, that allows it to get over rough terrain easier, so it doesn't basically get lodged and stuck. And then some bit of timber goes around, screwed on the outside to give the 2-tier design, as this slightly has it, but not too much, not compared to the 80s Daleks, if you've seen that. Plunger, I've got that currently printing because I don't have a proper one, but I've gone to the plans, I've done everything I can, scaled it to this Dalek. And the gun is literally here. It's just the same as the Imperials, but a little tighter are the rods, so they're not as out, if that makes sense. It has an inside mechanism, so I've got to make sure that this tube is hollow for the exterminator petals, you know. Eye stalk, currently on print, and other bits like that. The dome light, this is a dead giveaway of which Dalek it is. It's not complete yet, but this is basically the dome light, and I'll be taking a mould of this when I've printed the last bottom one out. It'll be then a red resin cast, and then the bottom and the 2 bottom ones will then be painted in black. That'll be screwed on somehow, and then all the lights out of there will be then put in this Dalek, because hopefully this is the Dalek that I might be able to use. I'll have to have words with Troy, see what he thinks, but I've got an idea of how this can tie in to the episode. As it is, as you can see, it's going to be a replica as best as I possibly can. So it's not copying Patrick's, because I did mention ages ago I wanted to do this Dalek, and it is one of my favourites, but I never got round to it because I don't really work with timber because of outside. But basically what's going to happen is all this is going, then he is then going to the bottom in storage till I get round to finishing him. The big grey Dalek I might put on the internet for 500, or if I can't sell it quickly, destroy it, get it out of the way, and then, you know, And then this Dalek will be then sitting here as the filming Dalek. So then I've got a Dalek ready. Sadly, it's not that Dalek, but what can I do? It needs a lot of work still. It's been back and forth. This is the 5th attempt now to get the paradigm right, as in what I wanted, and I'm now happy. But it needs to just be put in storage until I've got enough money. So yeah, this is the Dalek, basically, that is going to be hopefully used. I'll have words, like I say. It's going to be a dark colour scheme, but it's still going to light up, and it's going to have the voice modulator, and it'll be properly done. And it won't be as expensive as £7,000. It'll be 500 quid, hopefully. I say hopefully, like I say, it's the cheapest alternative. These are the easiest Daleks to do. You can't get them really wrong, you know, because there's so many different varieties of these. Even if someone's off, it don't matter, because these Daleks have gone through so much anyway. The 60s, 70s and 80s. Without pinpointing which one it is, to leave people guessing who are not big Dalek fans, but who are big Dalek fans will know exactly what this is. And as I put it out ages ago saying I wanted this Dalek in my room, it's finally happening. So this will not be a on-off, I've got something going off. This will be hopefully £100 each month. You know, £100 is nothing. So 500 quid, I am thinking. Timber Daleks are really easy. If you saw my 60s one years ago, just never finished it because I just didn't like it. I've always wanted the Imperials. But this Dalek is one of my favourites, so I'm having to look at reference pictures and stuff like that. So it will literally be coming along very quickly. So in the next week, the space here will probably be then occupied by this Dalek. So yeah, there's not a lot of moulding to do with it because it's just a one-time thing. So expect a lot of updates and it quickly being built, and then a finished Dalek, finally. So, yeah, that'll do it. I'll see you soon.